What's up, Star Hunters? It's Orion Senshi. Welcome to this week's character build. This is going to be super exciting. As I announced online, this is my tie-in to Kingdom Hearts 3. This is Sora. I'm going to be going over some rules, some new mechanics, and some stuff that I definitely think you'll like, as well as a definition of some ideas of things you can use if you want to make your own Kingdom Hearts themed campaign. Look forward to it. This is going to be a blast. There's a lot of stuff on this character sheet, and I can tell you right now, I had a lot of fun when I was working on that Fistful of Nazis run. I've actually modified it to be based on one of the boss fights in Kingdom Hearts 3, but I've taken a bunch of creative liberties. I'll go into that more whenever we get there. Are you ready? Let's go. Alright everybody, so here we are at Sora's character sheet. Now this is, I set him as a PL10. Anyone who knows anything about Kingdom Hearts realizes there are so many things Sora can do that he should be far beyond a PL10, but I tried to squeeze it all in. I had some good help from some friends of mine because I myself am not really huge on the Kingdom Hearts franchise, but I think that this is a really exciting character, and I tried to base this as much as I could on Sora at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 3. Now, there are a couple things I did not include. I did not include summons because that is something you can put in later. You put it as you get stronger, as you go through, as you meet people that you will summon, and I did not include the theme park rides. As far as the theme park rides, for the design for that, you can actually flavor that as team attacks. Whenever he's attacking with Donald or Goofy. I also did not include Donald and Goofy as minions or sidekicks because I just wanted to have this be a completely standalone character sheet that just goes over the things that I feel should be on Sora's character sheet. Okay? So let's jump right into this. Alright, so ability-wise, I kept them fairly standard. Strength of 1, stamina of 0, agility of 1, dex of 3. These are pretty average to slightly above average for humans. Fighting 4 because he does have a lot of hand-to-hand combat training, and he was a very athletic individual even on the islands when he first started, and by the time you get to Kingdom Hearts 3, he's gotten a great deal of training, which I tried to reflect in everything else. Intellect 2 because he's not super smart, but he's not very dumb. He sometimes gets sidetracked very easily. Awareness of 5 because he is aware of his surroundings. He does have kind of a lot of natural senses. And presence of 5 because Sora has this power to really motivate people around him, which I tried to reflect as best I could. So that is 42 points in abilities. Now getting over here to defenses, I gave him 8 dodge and 8 parry, as well as 6 fortitude and 7 will. Now some people may some people may feel that I should have pumped the will up. I'm still iffy on that. They was just trying to make space for everything else because there's a lot of stuff on this character sheet. So I feel that like the will, like he's a strong-willed individual, but there are times when he does succumb to it. We can kind of balance this out if I was trying to put like the advantage like fearless or something like that, but he has succumbed before, and you don't want him to again. All right, so moving right along, let's get down to let's actually jump down to his skills and his advantages before I talk about his powers, because his powers are a whole bag. I gave him 10 ranks of expertise magic because I felt that, you know, he's had so much training that you could flavor this as magic, you could flavor this as keyblades, whatever. 6 ranks in insight because he has a lot of training in just seeing into people's hearts and seeing what they really mean and feel. 4 ranks in investigation because you got to get something for solving all those puzzles. You know what I mean? He's good at finding where stuff is. 4 ranks of perception, again, with finding where stuff is, picking up on context clues, and finding out when he's in danger. I gave him 7 ranks in magic because he has so much experience in so many different kinds of magic that I just kept that as a blanket. 7 ranks in magic, 4 ranks in sleight of hand because he is good at like palming stuff. Well, not at palming stuff, but he's just good with his hands, and he's got fast hands. I gave him 1 rank in vehicles because I wanted to even things out. I think that's actually supposed to be based on agility, so yeah, it should be 1. It's not much, but I feel like he's been driving the gummy ship for so long that I felt like it was just right to give him some points in vehicles, because that just felt right, and so yeah, that's that. Now let's go over to advantages. He's really light on advantages. I gave him takedown 2. That is the one where he can, after taking down a minion, he can move and attack again, keep going till the minions go down. And remember, you could take routine checks on attacks on minions, so you could take 10, which means he can just wade through minions, because that's one thing that he just does. Kingdom Hearts is a hack and slash game at its core. I mean, I might get put on the pike for that, because there's so much more to it. I gave him accurate attack, I gave him power attack, so he can modify his attack rolls as needed, and gave him improved initiative, because he is very quick to get on the jump, which is why his initiative is 5. Alright, now we get into the powers. So let's just jump right in here. I gave him Flight 1 gliding, that is 60 feet, 60 feet for a move action, which isn't bad, but it's only while gliding. He can't start from the ground and go that. You got movement 2, wall crawling at full speed, so he can run up walls or along walls, but only while he's in motion. He can't just stand on the walls. I also gave him immunity 1, suffocation while underwater, so he can breathe underwater. That doesn't include some other areas. I'm not sure if I should include the space, because he does do the interdimensional stuff, but I just dealt with the underwater stuff for now. Now, because of the physical build of his body, I gave him protection 12. He's very strong. His body is just very durable. It is withstood great amounts of punishment. I could have made this impervious, but I feel like that would have just cut out into everything else that I was trying to crowbar into this character. I give him leap 2, but only while leaping straight up. That's a 30-foot leap. A lot of people would consider that underpowered because of all the other types of leaping that characters do, but I feel like that was very true to Sora's character. Now we get to the magic. So, you see I use the variable modifier. Variable, when it's used as a modifier, means it modifies what type of energy or what descriptor you're adding, whether it's like bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, to the effect. Variable 1 means you're choosing between a select group of things, right? So in this case, for the single target, it's choosing between fire, blizzard, and water, right? Variable 2 means you can choose any descriptor you want for it. You can, and also with the variable descriptors, you can change them as a free action once per turn. So once per turn, he can change the single target from fire to blizzard, or from blizzard to fire, but he can't do it multiple times in the same turn. But he can also change the single target to fire and change the AoE to thunder. So it's up to him on how that works. But variable 1 means it has to be within a select group. Variable 2 means it can be anything. If this was variable 2, then he could have it be fire 1 second for range damage, and he could have it be just piercing the next, where he's just shooting like spears or something. And I felt that the variable 2 didn't really describe all the things that how this is used. So since I was pulling from a very select pool, I went with variable 1, which is fire, blizzard, and water. And I have them all pretty much the same strength, because I was going for a super balanced build for this character, and I think that kind of describes the Sora at the beginning of the game. I have not played Kingdom Hearts 3 myself, so I'm basing this off of information I've got from friends. I actually spent a lot of time with one of my friends, the guy who made some of my new graphics and the opening intro music on this as well. So we've got the fire, blizzard, water are the single target, range damage 10, variable 1, thunder and arrow are the AoE damage, but those are around him. Now I did not give this the selective. Actually, those are burst damage 10s. Whoops. Just realized it would help if I had the number there, right? Alright, there we go. Burst damage 10s. There we go. And I did not give the thunder and the arrow the selective thing, so it will hit allies, so be careful about that. That's a 30-foot burst. Now, the cure, I did give selective. This is a burst heal centered on him that is selective. It is a heal 5, and it has stabilize. So if you have a dying ally that is within range of the heal, it will instantly stabilize them. You don't have to make a check. You don't have to worry about failing your check. You will instantly stabilize a dying ally. So that is everything that is Sora's base powers without the Keyblade. Now, this is where things get a little bit intense once we get into the Keyblade. Now, the first portion of this are things that I feel should go on every Keyblade, and this breaks into what I was talking about before about what it would take to run a Kingdom Hearts based campaign, right? I would have, in a Kingdom Hearts based campaign, I would have every player have their own Keyblade, and then all of the Keyblades be easily removable, but with this basic package, and then everything else is just up to you. And the basic package I have is the unlock power, which I have as Dimensional Travel 2, making a portal, which costs 8 points, with the feature, with 2 features of unlock the keyhole, which is like unlocking the barrier around the worlds if you can find the keyhole, and closing the barrier around the worlds. It's 1 point each, bringing that up to 2, and being able to call it back to you as a standard action if you're disarmed. Now, why would I have this be the base package? Because this is something all Keyblades can do, right? The dimensional travel of being able to open the portal in order to be able to go. Now, the idea is that you get on the gummy ship and you go. In a Kingdom Hearts based campaign, you would not have the players pay for the gummy ship. Just leave the gummy ship as is, unless you're making it a part of combat and you're going to have them fighting in the gummy ship, and then you would split the cost of the gummy ship between all of the players in the campaign, and then let the players invest in adding things to the gummy ship that they can use in whatever missions or things you have with them on the gummy ship, okay? Have it just being a mobile headquarters in that instance. The dimensional travel opens a portal, people can go through. Now, the reason why I have the unlock keyhole, the barriers, and close them as 1 point each is because they are mechanics that are necessary for the game, but they are not things that your character will use in combat. So I allocated 1 point to each of those. You're not going to be in the middle of a combat and open a keyhole and push the enemy through the keyhole. That's not how that works. That's something you reserve for cutscenes. That's something you reserve for having defeated the enemies guarding the keyhole, right? And the callback as a standard action is just a thing that they can always do. If you want it to be cheaper than a standard, like a move action, make it cost 2. Be very, very wary of letting it go to a free action or reaction. That is very dangerous. Then at that point, the easily removable cost becomes not a cost. So be very wary of that. Now, the Keyblade changes forms based on what charms are hanging off the end of the handle. So I have I had him start with 3 because you can only have 3 at a time whenever you're playing. So the first is Kingdom Key, which is a pretty standard melee damage 10 with secondary effect and accuracy 3. So that's going to be plus 10 to hit and 10 damage, and then it's going to burst again 6 seconds later as long as you don't hit them with Kingdom Key on the same target for the next turn. So it does a lot of damage. It has, with the 2 instances and 2 chances to hit, to do damage, that can be very, very powerful. He ended up not using that in the test run I did, but it was too dangerous for him to get close against some of the enemies because of their powerful ranged combat effects. Now, Hero's Origin is the one he gets from Hercules, where he gets the shield and he has the counter stance, right? This one is a little bit nutty. Not even going to argue that. This is a very min-maxed power that is very intense. Immunity to toughness-based damage. Boom. No damage. But, hold on. And it has Reflect. So, whenever it gets hit, he can reflect the target back, but he has to make a new attack roll using his own modifiers. So if it's a range attack, he's going to use his dexterity. If it's a melee attack, he's going to use his fighting. And then I gave it accurate. I gave it accurate 3, which means that he's going to add 6 to his roll to whatever thing he gets. So if it's a ranged attack, he's going to reflect it back at plus 9. If it's a melee attack, he's going to reflect it back at plus 10 to hit. And then the damage number will be the damage of whatever was hitting him, right? And you're probably thinking, dude, that's nuts. At that point, like, there's just no cost. Well, let's go over the limits, the limitations that make this balanced and bring this power down from an 80 cost power down to a 20. First, we have the limitation of the front. It is only viable in front whenever he goes to this into this state. He needs to state what things are in front of him. Now, this means that if an AoE goes off behind him, he can't reflect it. It won't stop it. So in the test that I ran, whenever the cannonballs would explode, I said that if it didn't hit him directly but it just exploded, that it was exploding behind him and that he was not able to reflect the damage. I also have it fading, which is for every use, because how this effect is worded, for every use it chips away at ranks of the power. The immunity toughness starts at 80 ranks. So that is after 80 instances of completely negating damage, it's broken. It can't do it anymore. But the only way to get those uses back is with at least 1 hour of him not using Hero's Origin, uninterrupted. And that is up to your GM how often you'll get that. So that means that 80 uses will have to last you an entire adventure, because how often is your character in a Kingdom Hearts campaign where they're just constantly going from one world to another? How often is he going to have an hour? Maybe he'll have it easily. Maybe he won't. Maybe that's where you talk to your GM, because maybe your GM will say that it's not just an hour of uninterrupted time. Maybe it's an hour of meditation or something, or training with the Keyblade to regenerate it, or like looking deep into his heart. The only thing is, it has to take at least an hour, and it's up to your GM's discretion what you have to do for that hour to get back the uses with the fades limitation. And lastly, it has the distract modifier, which means distract flaw, which means when he has Hero's Origin equipped, he's technically vulnerable because of how heavy it is. So his dodge and his parry get cut in half. So while he has Hero's Origin activated, his dodge and parry go down to 4 each. And I felt that that was a viable cost for something this powerful. When he's in that state, he can't dodge very well. It's really easy to hit him. So yeah, that's Hero's Origin. It's really big. Now for Shooting Star. This is the third Keyblade you get, and it's it's one of the first Keyblades that has 2 distinct forms, right? And the first one is the dual pistols. Pew, pew, pew. And when I looked at that in the preview video, it looked like he was just shooting in a straight line. Wasn't actually aiming at anything in particular, and everything that was caught in the line took damage. So I made it line damage 10 with penetrate 2, because he can just punch through armor. I'm not entirely sure if that's what it does in the game, but I felt that was accurate to put on this power. Then I gave the Shooting Star an alternate effect. Now this is where things get a little bit tricky, because it's an alternate effect within an alternate effect, but it works because of the cost. And that is when he goes into bazooka mode and the Shooting Star transforms into the Shooting Star cannon and fires the burst that explodes and does damage to everything around it. And that is a burst range damage 7 with one penetrate. They will always have to roll against at least 1. So yeah, that's it. That's Sora's powers. Now, like I said, if you are running a Kingdom Hearts campaign, you give everyone a Keyblade with this, easily removable 7 points. So that's not bad to have stacked on, of just like, here's 7 points pre-spent for you. Everything else is completely yours. You can make the character do whatever you want, give whatever kind of charms you want on your Keyblade. And the charms are also an array, so you can only have one of them on at a time. But you can change between them as a free action. As a GM, if you want to add a limitation and say that changing between the charms is a move action, that's up to you. That's something to talk about for your campaign. Maybe you want to say that they have to reach into their pocket and grab the different charms to change them, and so you make it like drawing a weapon, which is a move action, unless they take the quick draw advantage. That's also viable as well if you want to limit how often they can change. In my own test run, I ran into situations where the character was able to just go between Shooting Star and Hero's Origin. Whoops. You know, just fire Shooting Star, change to Hero's Origin, tank. Keep the enemy in front of him. Cool. But yeah. So that is the character. So now let's jump into combat. So ready? Let's do it. Alright gang, you guys have made it to the final portion of the video. This is the Fistful of Nazis run, but I have taken some liberties here. This is kind of fun because I thought I would explain some of the things that you can do with a Kingdom Hearts setting. So the Fistful of Nazis is normally 6 minion soldiers with machine guns, 1 non-minion soldier with a bazooka, 1 tank with a cannon and a heavy machine gun, and inside the tank 5 minions with machine guns and pistols. But in order to change things up, I set this battle in the Toy Story world, and I have him fighting against the King of Toys, but I flavored it that the King of Toys has so the soldiers, the minions, I have as toy troopers. The tank, which is the one with the cannon and the heavy machine gun, is the King of Toys, and I have flavored that there are 5 toy troopers inside the King of Toys. There's not actually, like, when you be in the game, when you beat King of Toys, toy troopers don't actually crawl out of it. This is just something I added for the sake of the test run, and for the leader, the one with the bazooka, I flavored that as a toy trooper in Gigas Gunner armor. So this is definitely interesting. Now, I went over all the stuff with the character as far as the immunity. Make sure, like, you understand what's happening with that. And, yeah, this is... this one's going to be a little bit different because we're not dealing with, like, surprise rounds. In this one, we're saying that we're actually catching them in the middle of combat. Donald and Goofy are down, and Sora realizes he has to finish this off himself if he's going to save the Toy Story world, and he has to defeat the King of Toys. He decides to clear out the toy troopers first, so he runs into the center of them and casts Thundaga, bringing down lightning from the skies, wiping out all of the troopers. One trooper in Gigas Gunner armor fires his cannonball at Sora. It hits him straight in the chest, almost knocking him off his feet, and he's dazed by the blast. The King of Toys fires his own cannon at the dazed Sora, hoping to crush him. The ball doesn't hit him directly, but he is caught in the explosion. The King of Toys continues his onslaught with another blast, and this does even more damage. Sora, realizing that he needs to heal off this damage, pushes himself up beyond his limits, pushing off the daze with his own heroic spirit. And he casts Cure on himself, healing off 2 more damage. He runs at the King of Toys, but he needs to clear this boss. He changes charms to Hero's Origin because he needs his shield. The Gigas Gunner fires a cannonball at Sora, ignoring the fact that his ally's in range. The ball makes a direct hit onto Sora's shield, and he deflects it back. It misses the Gigas Gunner, but it explodes behind the gunner, dealing some damage, chunking off some of the armor. The King of Toys tries to fire a cannonball at Sora as well, but it misses. The explosion happens behind him, and for a panic moment, Sora realizes he can't deflect the blast, but he is just barely able to roll out of the way with his heavy shield. The King's barrage continues, and he still misses even the slowed down Sora. Sora realizes he needs to change strategies, backs up, changing his weapon into the dual star pistols. The Shooting Star dual pistols, and he fires just a straight line of damage using his attack, catching both the King of Toys and the Gigas Gunner. The Gigas Gunner is badly damaged, but the King of Toys takes almost no damage. Sora, realizing he needs to stay on the defensive, changes charms back to the Hero's Origin. The Gigas Gunner, badly damaged, fires its own cannonball, trying to take out the Keyblade wielder. He deflects it with his Hero's Origin shield, and it goes on a direct hit, hitting the Gigas Gunner, destroying the armor and defeating the toy trooper inside. The King of Toys fires another cannonball at him. The cannonball misses, but it does catch him in the blast, going off behind him. But thankfully, Sora is able to shrug off the damage with his own natural durability. Seeing that the King of Toys can't move very well, Sora decides to put everything he has into a Fire Aga, hitting him as hard as he can. It unleashes a hellish torrent of fire, destroying the King of Toys. Sora lets out a breath, thinking that it's over, when suddenly 5 toy troopers climb out of the body of the defeated boss. Sora keeps his hero's origin up and does his best to defend himself. The troopers open fire on Sora. 3 of them actually hit his shield, and he deflects the blasts back. But he only manages to hit 1 of them. The other 2 manage to dodge the reflected blasts. Sora, changing to Shooting Star cannon mode, fires a burst at the clump of troopers. 3 of them go down in the blast, but 1 just barely survives. He changes back to Hero's Origin and keeps moving in a circle around the enemies, keeping the trooper in front of him. The last trooper fires at Sora. The shot doesn't even hit his shield. Sora lines up a shot with the last trooper and hits him with the hardest Blizzaga he can and defeats the trooper. Around this point, Donald and Goofy start to come around, start asking what happened. Yuck! Alright, so that was just a real quick thing there. So he was able to switch back and forth. He was able to use the different sources he has of range damage by using his power attack along with his spell casting, as well as his different keys with the area damage in the different shapes because of the Shooting Star. I always forget that name, probably because I don't live there. And it just gave him a lot of versatility and a lot of mobility. And he was able to use the hero's origin to constantly defend himself and reflect attacks back. So, yep, that is my Mutants Masterminds run of Sora. Look forward to that. Next up, I'm either going to be working on Olivia Octavius from Into the Spider-Verse, or I might be doing something a little bit different. I might actually finally get around to showing you guys my personal OC, Captain Freedom, who is my favorite character because Captain America is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. So, we will explore into that. Like, comment, subscribe for even more goodness. Hit the bell to know when I get live. Sorry this is uploading so late. Things have been super duper hectic in my life, and I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what heroes you want to see more of. I've heard some people asking for, again, Olivia Octavius. I was going to do a Mega Man here, but I just saw Kingdom Hearts came out, so I was like, let's go. And yeah, so that's it. Have a good one, everybody.